What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of DFS by Cage. I'm your host, Cage. Today is episode 34. I'm going to break down my DFS lineup for DraftKings for UFC 276, which is headlined by Israel Adesanya going up against Jared Cannonier for the middleweight championship of the world. Once again, as you know, I am the host of Cage My IQ. You can follow us on social media, as you saw in the beginning, on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then please smash the like button down below to help us get the algorithm going for this video. And please hit us up in the comment section and let me know what lineup you're going to be using this Saturday night for the pay-per-view, and who are your underrated DK plays for the weekend, who you think is a lock as well. But before we get into that, just going to run down from last week. We had a pretty good week for UFC Vegas 58. One of our biggest hits was Shaylin Norton Bayeki. He got 105 points. We got over 100 points with Umar Nurmagomedov. And then we even had 106 points as well from the third guy, which was Carlos Erberg. Ironically, the one pick that didn't hit that kind of brought down the DK lineup was, of course, Christos Giagos, where he only had 3. And then, of course, Armand Sarukian only had 58 in a controversial split decision loss for him. But other than that, I was happy with the fact that our 3 midway picks were great pickups. Of course, 2 low price guys hit over 100, and then of course Umar, which was one of the ones that you knew had to be used, got over 100 as well. So we're going in the right direction. To me, that's 2 straight weeks of having good picks. So let's get started with the lineup for this week. But also, right before I do that, we have Cash App open now. So if you want to donate to the show, just go to Cash App and donate to $ DanielBakley. Any donation is welcome. We'd appreciate it. You do not have to donate, but it's much appreciated if you do. So once again, that's Cash App, $ Daniel Bakley. So let's go with the lineup right now. I'll give you guys all 6 fighters for this week, and then I'll break down each fighter in detail why I'm going to use them. The first one is going to be one half of the co-main event. We got Max Holloway, who is very low price this week. He is 7,200. He, of course, nickname is Blessed. He's going up against Alexander Volkanovski. So we're going to use him. The next person that we're going to go up against with this lineup is going to be Brian Barberina. That fight just got moved to the main card, which is nice to see. His nickname is Bam Bam. He's going up against Robbie Lawler. His price tag is 7,700. Next on the list is, of course, Du Plessis. This is going to be a very interesting pick here. This is one of my locks for the week. His nickname is Stonox, and of course, his salary is $8,000. Then you got Jalen Turner. He's going up against Brad Riddell. His nickname is the Tarantula. His salary is $8,400. And then with the last 2 picks, we got, of course, Andre Muniz, a.k.a. Sergi Pano. His salary is $9,200. He's going up against Uriah Hall. And then lastly, we got Suga Sean O'Malley. His salary is $9,300. And he's going up against Pedro Munoz. So, of course, that is our 6-fighter lineup. Let's break down from the first to the last now. Of course, like I said, we got Max Holloway. He's going up against Volkanovski. He's 23-6. His FPPF, which is fantasy points per fight, is 88.6. He is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Of course, those 2 losses were to Volkanovski, in which I think the second fight he kind of did win, but he was on the wrong end of of course, the judges scoring in the decision. I felt like he won 3-2, but they wrote him as a loss for 2-3 in a close decision. But he beat Frankie Edgar, and like in all these fights, he's gone to decision 5 rounds. So of course, he is battle tested in 5-round fights. If you even want to go back, he has had 6 straight 5-round fights. He finished Ortega in the 4th round, and then he even got 2 KOs against Aldo, and had one against Pettis before you see all these decisions as well. But this guy is going to come in there. The last 2 fights, he had a whopping 445 significant strikes against Cater in a decision victory, and arguably the biggest DraftKings point total in all the MMA DraftKings ever. And then he came up and followed that up with the decision victory against Yair Rodriguez with 230 strikes. He even had 3 takedowns, so he was able to get 3 takedowns and 8 minutes of control time. So that's something that's very crazy to think, because I think that's the only time he's had takedowns, which it is. So I wonder if that's something that he's added to his arsenal, because he knew he can throw Yair off, and then maybe he was looking to the future, and maybe he thinks that he needs to use that against Volkanovski, because that's the one thing Volkanovski did to him that kind of dictated the end of the fight. But I see him going into this fight against Volkanovski. He has the better striking than Volkanovski. He just lacked the grappling that Volkanovski had. I feel like he's going to pour in a lot of volume at over 200 like he did before. I'm interested to see how that no sparring is going to do with that. But I see him going to decision against Volkanovski. I see him getting over 200 strikes. Maybe he gets a takedown. Maybe he doesn't. But I see him scoring anywhere from 80 to 110 points, just because of the fact that's going to go 5 rounds. He's going to get the victory, in my opinion, and he's going to have over 200 strikes. So that's going to give him ample chances to rack up the points of volume rise to get him to that spot. And then with the salary of 7,200, that is more than plenty to expect from him here, because if he even just gets 80, it's worth the pick here, considering he's one of the lowest cost fighters of the week. So I'm going with Max Holloway, 7,200. Next up is Brian Barberina. He is going up, of course, against Robbie Laurel, aka his nickname is Bam Bam. He's 7,700. This is going to be a fun fight, because this is going to be a bar brawl in the octagon. And you got 2 guys that look to knock their opponents out. They just stand there and trade shots, and it's going to be interesting. He's 17-8. He has an FPPF of 74.9, of course, and taking a look back at his last few fights, he is 3-2 with 2 straight wins over, of course, Brown and Weeks. He lost to Witt. He beat Ivy, and then he lost to, of course, Brown and Luke K, and beat Ellenberger. But in the last 2 fights, he's gone to decision. He's had over 100 significant strikes. He's been able to mix in the control on the cage, and then a little bit of ground and pound. Like he is susceptible to the takedowns, which has been a weakness, but Robbie Lawler's not going to let the take him down. I think these 2 guys are going to stand up and trade, and I'm looking at Brian Barberina to get that first or second round knockout here. I think age has to play a difference in this fight. because Robbie Law can't take the damage that he once was able to take. And then he's been kind of inactive. He's only fought once or twice the past couple of years. And with Barberina being active, getting these big fights out of his way, I see him getting that victory over Robbie Law by second round knockout. And with DraftKings in play, I could see him getting anywhere from 80 to 100 points, depending on how many strikes he racks up, which could be a lot with how much these guys are going to stand up and bang. And with the knockdown, knockout, and win, he could be optimal this week. And with the price tag of 7,700, that this was a no-brainer for me. So I'm going with Brian Barberina at the 2 spot against Robbie Law. Let's move on to the next one fighter. We got Driscus Du Plessis, like I said earlier, aka Stonox. He's $8,000 salary, so it's one of the mid-level salary guys. He's going up against Brad Tavares. He's 16-2. His FPPF is 109.2. In his first 2 fights in the UFC, he has a first-round knockout against Perez, and he has a second-round knockout against, of course, Giles. But he's gotten over 100 points in both of those. He's been able to do a combination of striking and grappling. You see the first fight, he got the knockout pretty quickly. And then the second fight, he got 2 takedowns, 1 reversal, 2 minutes of control time, and then he did get that second round knockdown that results in the KO. This guy has a pretty big kickboxing background, grappling. He can grapple and submit you. He is one of those guys that's going to be scary moving forward. And he's going up against a guy, Brad Tavares, who can stand and bang, but he more so likes to grapple up, get the fight to the ground, and get the fight dirty. But he's had issues with his gas tank over the last few fights. So I could see an easy situation where Driscus could take the fight and just pick at him, and fight from a distance, and just throwing those leg kicks, moving in, moving out, throwing strikes, and possibly finish him later in the fight by submission. And what I'm going to go with right now is Driscus Du Plessis by third round submission via a rear naked choke. I think once Brad Tavares wears down, that's when Du Plessis takes over and gets the finish in the third round. So he's going to get points for the finish. I could see him getting 1 to 2 takedowns like he did last time. It's going to be more so later in the fight than it is the beginning. He's going to get the volume that he gets, and then he's going to get the points for the victory. So I could see him scoring anywhere from 80 to 110, depending on the production that he puts out, especially seeing the fact right there where he had 109.2 average the first 2 fights that he's had in the UFC. He's due for a big week here. So once again, at the third fighter I'm going with is Driscus Du Plessis with the salary of $88,000. The first person I'm going with in my lineup is Jalen the Tarantula Turner. His salary is $8,400. He's getting that top 15 matchup against Brad Riddell. This is the proven fight to see if he deserves to be in the top 15 now. He's 12-5, 87.8 FPPF. As you see right there, he's on a 4-fight winning streak. It's crazy to think how, and a little bit of the game to your to repertoire, like grappling, can do a lot to a fighter. We know that he was 50-50 if you go into the past, and like he started out 1-2 in the UFC. He fought at welterweight. He decided he needed to make the move down to lightweight, which was the perfect move. And then on top of that, when he moved down to lightweight, he started training with the Gracies and added a grappling background to his fight game. And it's been very noticeable, as you see right there. He has 2 subs against Weaver and Medic. He knocked out Kulabau in the second round right before that. And then lastly, he beat Jamie Malarkey in round 2 of his fight in March. But this guy has had 4 straight fights end by finish. He is very tall for the lightweight division. He has that boxing background. He's going to go up against Brad Riddell, who trains to stand up and bang, but then grapples as well. And he has good cardio, and James Turner has good cardio. But Brad Riddell did get knocked out by a spinning leg kick in the last fight, so he has shown that he is a little bit chinny now. So I could see Jalen Turner come in here, throw a lot of those big strikes at Riddell, and get him out in the won the first 2 rounds. I could see him racking up the volume and be something like the Menek fight where he gets 25 to 30 in the first round, pushes him up against the cage, throws his elbows, and maybe he gets the finish by sub. He knocks him down and then looks to make a uh, uh, make a showing by subbing him, or he could just knock him out like he did against Malarkey. He has a lot of different paths to victory here. I feel like he's gonna have a good showing against Riddell, who I feel like Riddell has kind of been on the way down lately, with having a couple of subpar performances in the last 3 or 4 fights. But I think Turner is a guy that could get over 110 points here. He could get the victory very quickly, or he could get the victory in the second or third round. But I am 100% sure he's going to get a finish here. It just matter when. And usually he racks up a good bit of volume. It's just that, of course, if the longer the fight goes, the more chances he has. But this guy is a walk-in decision, a finisher waiting to happen here. So I'm going to go with a first round knockout by Jalen Turner. I think he hits anywhere from 20 to 30 points like he did against Medic. 20 to 30 strikes like he did against Medic. He gets the knockdown. He might even get a takedown too because he's been able to do that. 1 to 2 minutes of control time, and then he'll get the victory. So once again, I'm going with Jalen Turner, 8,400 in the spot. The 5th person in my lineup is Andre Muniz. He's aka Sergipano. Salary is 9,200. He's going up against Uriah Hall. He's 22-4, 96.5 FPPF. He is 4-0 in his first 4 UFC fights. After that debut against Arroyo, where he went to decision, had 3 takedowns and 5 minutes of control time. He's gotten out of the first round. He has gotten the finish in the first round. The 3 fights since then by submission over Fabinski, Souza, and Anders. He hasn't had to do a lot of significant striking because he's been able to take down his opponent, use a little bit of control time, but mostly him just grappling up, looking to advance position, and then getting the sub. And with a passive fighter like Uriah Hall, who tends to fight in a karate style, moves backwards, and then waits for the precise time to throw a strike that can knock you out. He has knockout power. He just is very inactive and waits for the perfect time to do it. So there's fights where he does win by knockout, but then there's fights where he allows time to go against him. And I think that works perfectly for Andre Muniz, who's going to look to push forward while Uriah Hall shimmies backwards. I think he takes him down and has a lot of control on the mat against him. He's the stronger guy. He's going to look to finish Hall. I see a second round submission by Andre Muniz here. And he's not going to have a lot of volume, but he's going to get the finish. He's going to get the points for submission in the second round. He's going to get the points for the win, and then he's going to get the control time here. So it was a no-brainer for me to go with Andre Muniz here. It's all dependent on the finish, though. He has to get the finish, in my opinion, for this to be worth it. But I think he gets the finish, so that's why I'm going with Andre Muniz here at their salary of 9,200. I think this is one of the chance picks that I'm going to take, and to me, it's worth it with the background there, as you see right there, 3 straight fights of getting the sub in the first round. If he could get in the first round, it'll be perfect. He'll be optimal, especially if it's early. But if he gets in the second, that's fine too. If I have to take a third round submission, I will. But if he goes to decision, it's gonna be needed for him to get at least 3-4 takedowns for the pick to be worth it at that point. So once again, I'm going with Andre Muniz at the 5 spot, 9,200. Now on to the last person. Of course, we have Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's 9,300 salary. He's going up against Pedro Munoz. He's 15-1 with a 92 FPPF. As you see right there, his lone loss was, of course, to Cheeto Bear, checking the leg kick and getting that first round KO on Sugar when he basically was fighting on one foot. But other than that, ever since the Quinones fight, he's been a walking KO master here. He knocked out Quinones, Eddie Wineland, Almeida, of course, in the third round. Mutino, he just demolished him. And then, of course, Halian Paiva in the first round, which was just how he did it was amazing. But he's going to go into this fight against, of course, Pedro Munoz, who checks leg kicks like Cheetah Bear does, and is going to throw a lot of leg kicks. So you're going to see a lot of patience and distance from Sean O'Malley early, but he's going to throw those mid to high leg kicks. I could see a situation where this fight goes to the decision because it's very hard to knock out Pedro Munoz. This guy has a big chin, and he takes a lot of damage, but at the same time he takes a lot of damage. So it gives you the option for Sean O'Malley to have a fight where, just like against Chris Martino, he could get over 150 strikes, maybe get a knockdown and a finish. I either see two things happening here, which is why I'm using him. I see him getting the decision victory where he gets over 150 to 175 significant strikes. He pours in a lot of volume. It doesn't get the finish, but the volume and the victory, it gets you enough points to get him over 100 fantasy points at least. Or he goes in there, shocks everybody, and gets the first round KO because this guy has the power. His height works in his favor, and he has the different skills. He can throw the leg kicks. He can throw the striking. He hits you with those really good angles, which you need in MMA. You need to hit them from the angles, where some fighters just throw straight, but he's going to throw from the upper and the lower angles. And if he can do that, he can finish Pedro Munoz. So that's why I'm using him at the last spot, and that's why he's the most expensive, because he is the most consistent at getting finishes by KO. But whichever way he does it, I think he gets over 100 points, which is what you need from your highest point total fighter in DraftKings this week. So with the last person, once again, I'm using Sugar Sean O'Malley at the salary of 9,300. I think he gets it done. Whether it's decision or KO, he's going to get over 100 points this week against Pedro Munoz. Once again, my lineup is Max Holloway, 7,200. Brian Barberina, 7,700. Driscus Du Plessis, 8,000. Jaden Turner, 8,400. Andre Muniz, 9,200. And then Sean O'Malley, 9,300. That wraps things up for my DFS line for DFS by Cage episode 34. I will be back next week for DFS by Cage, episode 35, where I break down my DFS lineup for UFC Fight Night, which is headlined by, of course, Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fasiv. We finally get that fight after getting rescheduled for 2 times over the last 4 months. I'm looking forward to this one, but tune in next week for episode 35. And before you do so, of course, once again, I just want to give you a shout out to our sponsor, High Tide Herbal. If you don't know who High Tide Herbal is, check out the video right now.
Offering high-quality, sustainable products with all-natural, lab-tested ingredients, it's High Tide Herbal's mission to help others live the longest, healthiest, and most productive lives possible. Their hemp-derived CBD products have a wide variety of uses, from helping sore muscles to skin hydration and minimizing skin irritation. They generate results based on your specific needs. Elevate your lifestyle with the new wave of wellness. Visit hightideherbal.com to learn more.
Once again, that's High Tide Herbal. All you got to do is go to www.hightideherbal.com. Check out the promo that we're running with them. Put in promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. Once again, that's promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. But other than that, that'll wrap things up for today's show. I will see you guys next week for another edition of DFS by Cage. I am your host, Cage. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.